Welcome to your Raiders show on RTV. I'm laughing because we did that. This is the second time it wasn't rolling. But anyway, rolling is probably the best word we can use today. Because we weren't going to have a show.
Nah, we weren't going to have a show.
Right?
If we would have lost against Miami, I don't think I would have been able to come do the show today. We said that last week.
Yep, we did. Mm-hmm. Well, all I can say is that we're going to talk about the positives. I got one negative, and it had nothing to do with the play on the field. Okay. It had to do with the play that went into the players on the field. And I'm going to get it out the way so we be positive for the rest of the show. Okay. But how are you up? Now, you just hold them 3 possessions in a row to 3 and out, okay? Mm-hmm. You get the ball. There's 5 minutes plus to go in the game, and you're moving the ball, and you call for a touchdown try that gets intercepted because it hit the guy in the helmet and bounced it. What are you thinking? They only had 1 timeout left. Make them use their timeouts, run the clock out, and then, if we don't score any more points, we still win by 11 points.
Right.
And we got to a point where we won by 3, and we could have very easily lost that game. It makes no sense.
If they would have converted the second onside kick, because they definitely executed the first one to perfection.
Well, you know why? That's special teams' job.
Special teams.
And I never had an opportunity to play special teams, but I was real close to the special teams coach because he was a wide receiver coach. In high school, you don't have all them coaches, at least back when we played. But he would always tell a lineman, make sure the ball is kicked before you take off. And when they showed the replay, all 5 of the initial guys on the line, all 5 of them, you watch the replay when you watch it again, as soon as they approached the ball, they had taken at least 2 steps before he even made contact with the ball. They didn't even know it was an onside kick.
And that's good coaching by the special teams coach of Miami. Because basically the Raiders, they just wasn't ready for it.
No.
They caught them completely off guard.
But see, and I'm glad it happened, but the good part, they didn't score on that play. They did not score on that series.
They actually fumbled. It was caused by Carl Joseph later on that series, so we got the ball back. We finally got a turnover.
Yeah, but what my point is, at least they'll learn. Make those guys stay home till you see the ball is kicked past you.
Yes, but back to your original point, your come on man moment. Basically what happened is that I think Carr probably checked out of that play and decided to go downfield, but it was absolutely unnecessary. At that time, you keep pounding with Marshawn, move the chains, wear the clock down, get out of there with a victory. Okay. Fortunately for us, the subsequent play that we're talking about now, the one where they decided to do an onside kick, we were ready for it the second time, so it didn't affect us and it didn't come into play.
But
had they got that onside kick, they had a chance to win that game.
Yeah, because there was still a minute and something left. It wasn't like 10 seconds or 30.
Exactly.
It was a minute and 52 seconds left when that happened.
Absolutely. Amari Cooper covered it up. He held onto the ball, something that he still had problems doing in the game. He had him and Crabtree moving the ball down the field. They both had consecutive drops. And I thought for a minute their butt cheeks got tight because you don't see 2 Biletnikoff winners drop the ball twice in a row. Carr put it perfectly in both their hands.
Well, I would more so, at least Cooper's was where he had to move his body to get to the ball. I'll give him that, even though he should have caught it. I'm not disagreeing with you. I totally agree. But he had to adjust his body to catch the ball. Crabtree's literally, you could have given him a chair.
Right.
That's how open he was. And I've never seen the ball hit his chest and he reached for it. He always catches the ball with his hands and brings it to the body. That didn't happen.
Right, and I knew that, the great thing about it, for those of you that have rewatched that game, is the next series, guess who Carr went right back to first?
That's right.
Because that's very untypical for Michael Crabtree to do. But yeah, there was some negative things. But now let's move on to some of the positive things.
The positive side is the fact, to me, the most important part of the game to me was when Marshawn got loose. Did you see his linemen? Oh my goodness, they were just all over him because that's what they want to see him do, because that just empowers the team. When you have runners that can get yards for you, and beast, he got that name for a reason, beast mode yards. Even when he was getting 6-7 yards, they were hard fought yards and his lineman was loving it because they open holes. But if they do that consistently for the rest of the season, we'll make the playoffs.
Well, the great thing about Marshawn is that he is gentlemanlike and he handles the game businesslike. Now, he may celebrate going in. He might dive in backwards. But once he scores, he's like Jim Brown. Give it to Mr. Referee. Yep. Shake your hand, shake your hand. Thanks, offensive line. We handled our business and move on. So yeah, Marshawn played a pivotal role in this game. He had 2 great runs in the second half. One, obviously, he switched and hop-stepped in order to get in the end zone from 4 yards out. But the first one he had was more impressive because it actually took you back to beast mode and how he was able to get to the second level. And once he got to the second level, he had a safety, shook him out of his shoes, and was able to score untouched. So yeah, the Raiders' offense, I felt like that they did pretty well. Carr was 21 for 30 for 300 yards, well, with 2 touchdowns and an interception. So, no, excuse me, 1 touchdown and an interception. So I thought he played very well. I was also impressed with Jared Cook.
Oh,
8
yeah,
receptions,
great game.
140 yards. He showed out, and that's 2 weeks in a row. And you could see why we got him is because Carr has a weapon now that can attack the middle of the field. But ironically enough, the first play of the game, we ran him on that deep out right down the sideline. But he's like having an extra wide receiver. It's not even having a tight end. He gives you that 6'5", 240-pound fast guy a la Gronk, who we have to face coming up this next week. But coming up now, we're going to switch over to our commercials, and we'll be right back with more of Your Raiders Show here on our TV.
Pearl and Ivy Community Corporation and Alpha Kappa Alpha presents Heritage, the Play. Heritage opens a deeper conversation around Black femininity, social perceptions, and how hair impacts the lives of Black women. Join us Saturday, November 18th, 2017, 3 p.m. at Skyline High, located at 12250 Skyline Boulevard in Oakland. Tickets are $30. Contact us at info@pearlivy.org.
And welcome back to Your Raiders Show on RTV, where we are at least feeling a little bit, not a little bit, we're feeling a lot pretty good. Not a little bit pretty good, a lot pretty good. Like I said, just because of the way that play happened at the end of the game, it just kind of depressed me a little bit. But when you go back and look at the body of the game, you know, we talked about before the game that before the show started, that we had a couple of them 2-yard passes, which I despise. Right. In certain situations, if you're going downfield, you know, consistently, you know, we talk about stretching the field, then you drop every now and then following one of those plays, then I get it. But not for that to be our number one focus on trying to get a first down, because it makes it so much more difficult. And then you're always looking at a 3rd and 5 or more.
Yeah, and our offense is so much more effective when we're attacking and going downfield. I saw a stat in the game, and it mentioned that since 2016, the Raiders have more touchdowns of 20 or more yards than any team in the league. So that just goes to show you how effective Derek Carr is when he looks downfield. I think a lot of time he gets into that dink and dunk, thinking that, well, let me just give a player a chance to make a play. He's got a one-on-one, and unfortunate for us, it hasn't worked in our favor as much when we're swinging it out to those backs and trying to check down. But when we're going down the field, he is such more effective. And I think the other thing, a lot of people don't realize that when you break a leg, you're still a little gun shy. I'm sure he thinks that that clock is ticking, and it's probably not calibrated like it was last year. He's probably releasing the ball. As a matter of fact, I know he is, because he releases the ball in less than 2 seconds, and he's the fastest release in the NFL right now. He's releasing it a little bit early and not allowing the time to develop. And you need to at least have 2.5, 3 seconds to throw the ball downfield. You got to allow the receivers to get in and out of their breaks.
Well, that is very well said. The other point of that, and I know you, as soon as I say it, you're going, oh, yeah. Well, we're talking about the leg, but what about the back?
Absolutely.
And that's more recent.
Absolutely.
So that's why, and I mean, he's human. So he's going to be a little anxious at times, and hopefully the more games he plays, the more he gets that out of his system. But the thing that I'm concerned about from a standpoint of the play calling, and when you said that he can check down, well, first of all, I still put that on the offensive coordinator. Because, you know, we get the ball back. Our defense played 3 great series in a row to have them 3 and out. And then you say, hey, look, now, and this is what you're doing. I don't care what you think you see. We are going to grind this out and make them use their timeouts and run as much time off the clock as we possibly can. I'll guarantee you that wasn't done, else he wouldn't have checked off.
Right. And it was a bad decision by Derek Carr. But like you said, he's human. But I think one of the things that goes unseen and we don't often pay attention to, because unless you hear they let somebody in for a sack, then you don't really hear a lot of accolades. But I felt like that the Raiders' offensive line out-physicaled
Oh, yeah.
the defensive line featuring Ndamukong Suh of the Miami Dolphins. I think that was the best game the offensive line has played
this year. I agree.
I think that we were able to run the ball when we had to run the ball, when they knew we were going to run the ball. And I saw a lot of crackbacks on Ndamukong Suh. And the one play that he made was that of a superstar. He literally had to fly to knock the ball out of Carr's hand, which was the closest that he got to Carr, or anybody for that matter got to Carr the entire game.
But if you go back to the replays on the line, they were doubling him every single time. So he had two beefs to deal with, not one.
Behemoths.
So, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So it's not like it's mano mano, man on man. And when you get a situation where now you got 2 against 1, and I agree with the defense. I thought Ken Norton did a great job of calling that. And I know he's not the line coach, he's defensive coordinator. But my point is, take away their best player.
Right.
And that's what the defense did. That's what the offensive line did to their defense. And I think that was probably the difference in the game. Now, he made the one play, which was a phenomenal play. I mean, if they stop that in slow motion, he is literally almost levitated.
340 pounds levitated off the ground.
And just barely got enough of that ball to knock it out. But my point is,
see, that's why he garners the double team.
Right.
He got Khalil Mack treatment. Yeah. Those are the type of plays Khalil Mack was making all year last year. The other thing that I said it, when we flip over, we're going to talk about another forgotten man, Bruce Irvin, because he had a great game also. He forced an actual strip, and he got pressure on the quarterback.
But did you see the penalty they called on him? That was the most bogus penalty I think I've ever seen, ever. Because they said it was on 51. They showed the replay. And even the announcer, he says, well, what did he do?
Right.
And I mean, these guys, I don't even want to spend the show talking about officials, but we should have more of a check and balance on them, because they make so many mistakes. And throughout the league, yesterday, with all the things that went on, Matthew was talking about that, there was more time spent breaking up fights than it was calling penalties.
Yeah, it was crazy. Did you see when Mario Edwards Jr., the first play of the game, him and the guy was down on the turf, and Mario was like, whoop, whoop. I'm like, wow, he really threw some shots there. And he got tapped for it. He did get a 15-yard penalty on that.
Yeah, but hey, what do you normally get when you do this?
Well, ejected.
You gone.
Right, so you're
and
right.
We don't, and see, but again,
the rest weren't controlling the game.
Right, but what I'm saying is we have to have players that are smart enough. We need him.
Exactly.
If he's gone for the day, that hurts us.
Pressure up the middle
so
hurts.
You got to, and see, my wife gets even angry at me so much when I say, I get so upset with the modern athletes not having IQ in their sport. Whether it's football, basketball, it doesn't matter. But you got to know the game, and you got to know what you bring to your team, and what will happen if you lose your cool and you're out of the game. Like Marshawn did.
Exactly.
I'm a Marshawn guy. You know that.
Right.
But when he did what he did, I couldn't stand up for that.
Everybody
no way.
At that level is a great athlete. So what it comes down to at that level is your mental capacity. Right? Are you able to keep under control? Are you able to execute? Are you able to dissect? Are you able to read? These are the things that end up separating the good players from the great players. And the greater players, they anticipate because they've seen it before. Like Navarro Bowman, again, leading the team in sacks 3 games in a row. That was a tremendous pickup for us.
Yeah. He made that one mistake, though, because he bit.
Over the top. Yeah.
So. It happens. I mean, he's playing so well. So what can you say? All you can say for him is thank you, 49ers. We appreciate it.
I knew when we picked him up that after having every L blown, when I say every L, that's MCL, PTL, and ACL, and then blowing out his Achilles, that for him to turn his hips and backpedal in coverage, he is a liability. But we gain so much advantage because he can come downhill. And we need him to continue to come downhill and fill the gaps.
Well, just reverse the role and put in there. We got to get out of here for a break. Take us out.
Okay, well, let's get out of here and take a break, and we'll be right back with more of Your Raider Show here on our TV.
Hi, Pastor Maria Reams here with the Center of Hope Community Church. I want to share with you some news that we are service that we are having on Thanksgiving Day. That's right, Thanksgiving Day. Can you believe it is almost here? It's a time for celebration, for enjoying family and friends. We will be having one service only. That's right, one service only at 9 p.m. at the Center of Hope Community Church. We're sharing with others the gratefulness, the thankfulness, and what God has done for us in our life. So what I want you to do, I want you to share this with your family, share it with your friends. Would you do me a favor? Share it with the neighborhood. Let them know. Let them know Center of Hope Community Church on Thanksgiving Day at 9 a.m., one service only. And we hope to see you there. Bye.
And welcome back to we are on RTV. This is your radio show on RTV. We talking so much off screen, I got to focus. But anyway, we're going to spend a little time, and we actually should spend, to be perfectly honest, we should have spent a little bit more time on the defense because they were outstanding. And we talked to you, and you already led into it when you're talking about the double teaming on Sue and the things that happened. But I mean, the thing that I was really more impressed with was the fact that we didn't give up the big play offensively like we had done. Now the first one was good. We said Bowman bit. That you could throw that one out. But take that away, I thought the defensive backs that have been very suspect, I thought they played better. I'm not saying they were great, but they played well enough for us to win a game that the games we've been losing because they weren't. They were stayed on the field too long and giving up too many plays. I thought they really did a much better job at that.
Well, I think the defensive backs that we have and the safeties, I think that Reggie Nelson, 2 years as an All-Pro, I think he's kind of fading a little bit, and it was good to see our second-round pick, Obi Manafanu. He was able to get in and be in on a tackle. I like to see him more because actually we picked him to cover Gronk, and we played Gronk in 2 weeks. So we felt like for him to be a physical phenom at 6'3", 235 pounds, running a 4.3 with a 44-inch vertical, kind of reminds me of Darrell Griffin when you talk about 44-inch vertical. But for him to have those physical attributes, we think that he's a good one-on-one matchup with Gronk, also with Kelsey. He wasn't available for Kelsey. So I think the safeties did pretty well. I'm not impressed with their tackling. I saw, especially on the one touchdown that they got on the run on the ground, I forget the running back for Miami, he was hit by two Raiders. He bounced off the hit and then decided to dive
into the end zone
to break the plane. And I'm like, you had two people and he still was able to withstand that hit. You got to learn to wrap up in the NFL. You can't just hit. You're not Jack Tatum. You're not George Atkinson. You're not coming with the hook. You better learn how to wrap up. So I wasn't impressed. And I seen Joseph a couple of times not be able to make the tackle. And we know he's a little diminutive in size for a safety, but he's got a lot of heart because he don't mind coming to lay the wood when he comes downhill. But we got to make sure that, again, we have the right matchup because if you have a guy that's 5'9", trying to guard Gronk down the middle at 6'5", it's just like what we do with Jared Cook. So I expect for us to take advantage of that mismatch next week, too. We need to see a lot of Jared Cook down the middle. But the Raiders' defense, the second level, the linebackers, I felt the linebacking play now that Bowman is there is stable. I think he's got a young tutor that he's bringing along in Corey James. I think that he's giving him direction. He's calling the plays. And, again, he led the league, led the team in tackles with 10. So he's got over 30 tackles for 3 straight games, 12, 11, and 10. Now, the trend's going down, but I'll take the double-digit tackles any day.
As long as we're winning.
We're winning.
Well, let me ask you one thing I can't forget, and I meant to do that on the offensive segment that we had. But the best thing that I saw all day, I mean, I obviously I love when they win. But my man Seth Roberts caught a ball that was vital at the time.
He caught a vital one, but he had the drops too.
No.
I'm playing you. You playing me right now.
You're right. I agree with you 100%. But what I'm saying is he had the drops early, but when he caught it was very important.
Very important. But
and
that's
so
big play, Seth.
hopefully that's what I'm talking about.
Play, Seth.
That'll get him back to work because he's always a guy that may only have 2 or 3 catches or 1 or 2 catches, but 2 or 4 touchdowns.
Exactly.
Or a huge play.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been missing.
Exactly.
Especially with Cooper struggling like he was, Crabtree was keeping us going. He was the only one. And then now the tight end, I mean, everybody's starting to come at the right time. So if we could, the key thing is we have to, and I hate to put this on it because we got a tough schedule. We got Philly, we got the Cowboys, we got all that. But we got to beat New England.
We have to beat New England.
We got to get the 5-5.
And like I've always said, and anybody I talk to football about, it doesn't matter what you're doing in September and October. The team that's playing well at the end of November and December and is hot that's the team that's going to do well in the playoffs. So the Raiders have not peaked yet at all. They are peaking. They're starting to trend upwards now, and they have to. They don't have a choice. Their back is up against the wall. We should have beat Baltimore. We should have beat Denver. We should have beat Buffalo. Those are 3 wins, and I think that you would agree with us that we were supposed to win those games. So now we cannot afford to lose any other games. We do got to knock off New England. That'll put us in excellent position. Right now, if someone looked at the standings, it looks as if that we're 2 games out. We're actually a game and a half out because we already beat Kansas City head-to-head. If we end up tied with them and we beat them again, that means we'll win the head-to-head and we can win the division. We are not far away. We still need to continue to stack wins and continue to hope that we get some help. And there's some good things happening. Denver's going down the tubes. Kansas City has lost 3 in a row.
Right.
So they're trending down, and now it's time for us to trend up.
Well, I think that the key thing for us right now, the bye week is perfect. We get a time to I just hope he doesn't this is our bye week, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't want 5-6 days off or whatever they've been doing. Give them a couple of days.
No.
Get their butts right back in there and stay focused.
Yeah. I heard the interview today. They're in pads this week. It's not going to be like they did the week before when they got 4 days off for having a mini bye.
Right.
They're practicing this week and next week.
No, we got to, because even though we've played well in Mexico City, but, we're playing against probably one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league right now. He's had some tough starts, but he's still a quarterback of the ages. There's no question about what he can do, but we don't want to give him that opportunity to have that happen. We have to be aggressive, and if our defense plays like they did this past weekend, I think we'll be fine. That's why I'm glad to see all the people come in the spots that they're coming in, but that offensive line is starting to kick it in place, and I think that motivates the defense too.
Because football.
When they do what they do, you know what it does? It keeps the defense off the field and keeps them fresh.
Right. We need to keep Brady off the field by being able to utilize Marshawn to soak up some of that clock. So you're right. We need to be able to keep our defense and their offense off the field by pounding it with Marshawn and taking our strikes down the field. That's Raider football.
Okay, but speaking of taking us, take us out.
Okay, well, when we come back, we're going to talk about more of what we need to do against our upcoming opponent. It's going to be a while, the New England Patriots. So we've got 12 days off now as of the time of this filming to get ready for Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. And we'll be right back on our TV and your Raider show.
These guys work hard at keeping their edge, and they find it in the most surprising places.
You're out, CJ. Not today, Jackie. Not on my watch, Spencer. I don't think so, Billy. You're out, Jimmy. Not today, Susie. Nice try, Holly. Booyah!
You never know where you're going to find that edge.
Hi, Pastor Maria Reams here with the Center of Hope Community Church. I want to share with you some news that we are service that we are having on Thanksgiving Day. That's right, Thanksgiving Day. Can you believe it is almost here? It's a time for celebration, for enjoying family and friends. We will be having one service only. That's right, one service only at 9 p.m. at the Center of Hope Community Church. We're sharing with others the gratefulness, the thankfulness, and what God has done for us in our life. So what I want you to do, I want you to share this with your family, share it with your friends. Would you do me a favor? Share it with the neighborhood. Let them know. Center of Hope Community Church on Thanksgiving Day at 9 a.m., one service only. And we hope to see you there. Bye.
Pearl and Ivy Community Corporation and Alpha Kappa Alpha presents Heritage, the play. Heritage opens a deeper conversation around Black femininity, social perceptions, and how hair impacts the lives of Black women. Join us Saturday, November 18th, 2017, 3 p.m. at Skyline High, located at 12250 Skyline Boulevard in Oakland. Tickets are $30. Contact us at info@pearlivy.org.
And welcome back to Your Raider Show on RTV. We got a short segment here, but let's talk about the upcoming opponent with a bye week, which should give us no excuses, because we should have everything put in play. People that have the little nicks and knacks in terms of injuries, they should be all taken care of. And if we can't get ready for that game, I mean, I really think that's the key game. Because of the way the season has flowed, that's the key game of the season.
It's a must win. I mean, when we were looking at this, when the season came out, before the season started, a lot of people were looking at this as a preview of the AFC Championship. Well, it still can be a preview, but the Raiders got a lot more work to do than the New England Patriots. So there's a couple of things that I feel like work in the Raiders' advantage for this game. Number one, New England has to play Denver this week. So they're going to already be up in this high altitude, Mile High. Then they're not going home. They're flying over to Mexico. They're not even going back to New England. And then they're going to even be in a higher altitude dealing with Mexico City. So I'm looking for them to have some signs of fatigue from being on the road and being in that high altitude and having to play back-to-back games, and they're not used to that. The other thing the Raiders have to their advantage is the injury bug has kind of hit them in some very key areas. On defense, you're looking at Dante Hightower, who was their best linebacker, is now out for the season. And, of course, they lost Brady's favorite target, Julius Edelman, out at the beginning of the season, first game of the season, when he tore his ACL. So I think that from a personnel standpoint, the Patriots do not have great players. The Patriots have a great coach
and system.
And they have a system that they've been in and haven't had to change for years. So is Brady completely acclimated? Absolutely. Does Brady control what he wants to do? Absolutely. How do you beat Tom Brady? Well, first, you have to get him off his mark. You cannot let Brady sit in the pocket and do what he wants to do. You've got to put pressure. Atlanta had New England in the Super Bowl, up by 24 points at halftime. What they were doing is they were making him just like anybody else. If you get right in their face a pocket passer, I don't care if it's Tom Brady, I don't care if it's John Hadle, I don't care if it's more recently Philip Rivers. If you go right at the pocket and you rush and get right up the gut and get in his face, then he's going to get rid of it early, and that leads to interceptions. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders got their first interception of the year off of Tom Brady and the New England Patriots.
Well, I tell you, all that's good stuff. We got 60 seconds to get out of here, but let's put it this way. We won't be on next week. We got a bye. So we get a bye, right? We get a bye.
We get a bye.
But let's look at it this way. We all know what we need to do, and the most important thing, I go back to my man Al Davis, just win, baby.
Just win, baby.
That's what we got to do. No matter how we do it, we just got to win. And that is the most important game of the season because of the way that everything has fallen out.
Right. And we win and get over this one. We're looking at, then we have to face Denver. First,
let's not even worry about it. Let's not even talk about that. Let's just get this one.
Okay.
Just win, baby, and then we can talk about that after having a week off.
I agree with you. One at a time.
Take us out.
All right. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk to you about what we did against the New England Patriots on your Raiders show here on our TV. So let's go Raiders and get that win. And you guys root for the Raiders so we can all be happy after we go and wipe up Mexico City with the New England Patriots.